What is going down, squad? How are we doing today on this beautiful Tuesday? I'm not gonna lie, guys. I'm starting to get the off-season itch again. It's been a process, since the 49ers lost in the NFC Championship game against the Rams, and it's now officially Super Bowl week. I'm finally getting the off-season juices flowing. So I'm really, really excited to talk about specifically today. Um, I'm excited to talk about cornerbacks because clearly I have asked the people, and the people have told me that is right here. Edwin, we need corners now. now. So we will be looking into it all. Shout out the Sourdough Squad. Drop an SDS in the chat if you're vibing with me. We see all the homies in here. We got DJ in here. We got Cash the Guad in here. We got Smitty, Big Heck. Let's go. We see Vince in here. We see that. I haven't seen DJ in a while. Good to see the boy around here. We got Josh in the building. Good to see the Sourdough Squad balling. Man, I don't know, man. I don't know about you, man. I don't know about you. Hey, that's awesome, Chase. Love to hear that. Love to hear that, Chase. And of course, DJ, chat legend / moderator. He wants you to get those likes up. So do I. So do it. What's our like goal today? Keep it light. 150. Seems nice. Maybe 2. We'll see. We'll see. But what's good, squad? Vince said I just hit stick that like button. Hey, Tony, I appreciate that, man. What's good, everyone? Hey, Coog said he was making a burger and he was putting chips on it. I mean, my guy. I've never tried that. But you got me a little inspired. I'm a big chips on sandwich guy, but the chips on the burger? I might have to look. I might have to try that out. And it's the off season, so anything goes at this point. Lewis Klein, UGA strong safety is my draft crush and hope for the Niners from the Jedi. Hey, the Jedi. There are a lot of safety prospects picking up some speed here, especially with the San Francisco 49ers. Clearly, Kwaski is going to be a free agent. Jimmy Ward's, getting long in the tooth. Love Jimmy, and I still think he's got a role here for years to come. But you know how it works. You start transitioning a year or two before you think things are going to go down. So, hey, safety's going to be heavy in the rotation today. Not today, but overall. We see the squad. All right. So, as we talked about today, Kyle says, Brad, tell me TB12 is coming. He's not. He's not coming. I'm sorry. He's not. Adore says, Brad, did you cry when we lost? No, I actually didn't. I'm not gonna be like a big tough guy and pretend like I didn't shed actual tears. Not over this team, over the struggles that I went through this year. I mean, there's a lot of things that I went through behind the scenes and covering this team, and it was it was a roller coaster. There were ups, there were downs. And I would be lying to you if I said I didn't shed any tears this year. But when it came down to that last game, when it came down to the loss in the NFC Championship game, I really did feel at peace with it, man. I really did. It sucks. It still stung and hurt, but there was a level of peace. Sourdough tears. just little mini baguettes, coming out the tear ducts. Just little sourdough baguettes, man. But no, to be honest, I didn't cry when the NFC champ. I felt a lot of emotion. I'm heavily invested. Oh, the boy, Lou. Ooh, IG. I gotta check that out. RIP my DMs, but I'll find it somehow. I'm heavily invested, big time, you know, into this team. Clearly, I'm a fan. I talk about them all the time. I create content about them, but at the end of the day, I'm a fan. So I'm invested. But I just felt at peace. I felt lucky to be in the NFC Championship, and so I did feel like the 49ers were going to go to the Super Bowl. However, I understand any given Sunday, right? Any given Sunday, anything can happen. So I was ready for it all. I was ready for it all. What did I think about the Pro Bowl? It's the Pro Bowl. It's not what it was, and I understand why it's not what it was. They added an additional game onto the overall season. Players are banged up. I mean, think about guys like Debo, think about Kittle, think about Lakin and Mack. They just got done playing in the NFC Championship game. I guarantee you there's still bumps and bruises and injuries that they're healing from. So going 100%, going 100% in a Pro Bowl exhibition game, it just doesn't make sense for a lot of people. But hey, hopefully they get that switched up soon. But let's get into the meat of our topic. So essentially what we're gonna do here today, before we get off the rails, we typically save getting off the rails towards the end of the show. So once we get past like an hour 15, anything goes at that point. You never know. Hell, we spent like 30 minutes talking about my college film one day. You never know what's gonna happen. So stick around to the end, smash that like button, and let's take a look at some of the available free agents for the San Francisco 49ers. Because, like we talked about, man, actually, hold on. So I've been polling you guys. I've been trying to figure out what you guys are thinking in regards to off-season roster construction, because that's where we're at. I'm in it now. I'm leaned in. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to talk. I'm ready to build this team so it can compete for a six. Now, Kyle and John Lynch might not listen to a damn word that I have to say, which they do way more often than not, but that doesn't change the fact that we can still have some fun with it and build out teams the way we envision it, the way we would like it. Again, we have favorite players all across the league. Maybe they aren't on this team and you want to see them added. So that's what we're going to talk about this offseason. And it's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm getting ready to go. I don't know about you guys. I'm getting ready to go. Clearly, we're going to be talking about trades. We're going to talk about free agency. We're going to be talking about draft. We're going to be talking about it all, right? But when I polled YouTube, I asked the people, like, what is the biggest offseason need? And I'll poll you guys quickly in the chat. Poll time. What is the 49ers' biggest offseason need? Now, I'm sure, spoiler alert, I'm sure you read the title, so you probably know what the main answer is. However, your answer could differ from the majority. I want to see in the chat what you guys think the main priority is for this offseason. And while you're doing so, I'll show you what was said via YouTube poll. First one off the board's offensive line. I like that. That was actually the second most voted. Hey, shout out YouTube gang. Shout out the YouTube gang. Over 47,000 votes on this poll. Essentially asking the question, what is the 49ers' biggest offseason need? And overwhelmingly, 62% of the 47,000 people that voted on this poll picked cornerback. And if you actually click on the comments, as you can see, there's over 700 comments. It's more people expressing how they want cornerbacks. It is interesting because we did pull our specific sourdough squad chat towards the end of the year. One of the things that I had asked was if Emmanuel Mosley and Ambry Thomas were coming back as your starting outside cornerbacks, clearly nickel corner needs to be addressed because we don't know what's going on with K1. He potentially is going to leave in free agency. We thought that was going to happen last year, but he ended up coming back on a 1-year deal. So I had asked the chat, would you feel comfortable with Ambry Thomas and Emmanuel Mosley as your starting outside cornerbacks? And the majority of our sourdough squad said, yeah, I'd feel pretty good. I'd feel comfortable. Wouldn't be opposed to looking elsewhere, whether that's free agency, whether that's the draft. So I think it's pretty crystal clear, and I'm still seeing it just like Tony's saying, cornerback. It's not even close. This is the overwhelming thought process amongst most 49er fans. So that is what we are going to do today. We're going to take a look at some of the top available cornerbacks. We're going to talk about who we think fits best, start laying out the criteria for what we're looking for specifically for the San Francisco 49ers to fit. Not every team's built the same. Not everyone's looking for the same traits. Not everyone's looking for the same things. So we're going to try to assign and identify what the 49ers are looking for. I mean, we clearly have a long list of, history of what the 49ers have had at cornerback, whether it's Greg Mabin and Brian Allen to Richard Sherman, Emmanuel Mosley, K'Wan Williams, Ahkello Witherspoon. It feels like the archetype that they have been scouting for cornerbacks has changed and has continued to change, especially with D'Amico Ryans, I feel like, taking over as the defensive coordinator, because the two cornerbacks that they drafted were a lot different than the type of archetype of cornerback that they had previously. You look at Sherman, you look at Ahkello, you look at Mosley, Josh Norman. No, I'm not going to even mention it. But you look at those guys, those cornerbacks that have been an impact for the 49. What is the common thread amongst those guys? They have length, they can move, but they're very cerebral. They're very good at being able to identify, being able to assess routes, bite on routes, understand what the offense is trying to do to them. Corey's saying first offensive line, second edge, 3 defensive back. I'm not going to lie. I like Corey. I like where Corey's head's at. I'm not going to lie. I would actually kind of fall into, I think, this category. I think number one I'm looking for is offensive line. Edge is always going to be top 3 need until they get a bona fide, solidified rusher opposite of Bosa that can play on the outside. And there are players that I have lined up for that position, but that's not today's episode. Today, we're talking specifically about free agent cornerbacks. So, as we stand today, the 49ers are going to be going into this free agency period with Emmanuel Mosley under contract. They're going to have Ambry Thomas under contract. They're going to have Diamador Lenore under contract, and I believe Dante Johnson is under contract as well. I imagine we don't see the return of Josh Norman. And, they've had a laundry list of guys kind of rotate in and out. Darquez Denard, I think, made an impact. So that will be something that we monitor. Maybe they bring Darquez into training camp or OTAs. He seemed to have an impact on the players in a short span with the 49ers, and he got on the field, at least in a special teams role. So maybe he's a guy that we look at and to come in on a minimum deal, see what he's capable of. But yeah, there, and also too, one of the biggest questions that we're going to talk about this offseason is right here from Frankie. Are we keeping Jason Verrett? And also, if we keep Jason Verrett, what does that mean? Oh God, no. That's a no for me, dog. Hey, I get the thought process. Like but that's not the kind of toughness I want. I don't want the kind of toughness where someone's got to point a gun at a dude on an IG live or on his IG story. Like that's not toughness. That's just stupidity. I don't want that. Okay, good. Thank goodness. You scared me there, bud. You scared me. You scared me. Scared me, man. It's all good. We're back. Real ones know. Real ones know. Um, but yeah, essentially, I think the biggest question that still remains: are we keeping Verrett? As we know, Verrett is a free agent. Verrett re-signed after the best year that he had had. He had played an entire season in 2020. Again, a year where everyone was getting hurt, but he stayed healthy and he had a great year and really was a key piece. I mean, it felt like Verrett had returned to that Pro Bowl caliber level that he was with when he was with the Chargers. So that's going to be one of the things that we have to figure out. Like, are they keeping Verrett? At what price would they be keeping Verrett? Because if he re-signed on a 1-year, $5.5 million deal after one of his best recent seasons, now coming again off another season-ending injury that happened week 1, what does that deal look like? I mean, it's got to be at least half, right? At least half. So I don't know if Verrett's coming back. I wouldn't mind it, but I think the question then is asked: if Verrett does return, how do you build out the cornerback room? I think you still have to go through a bit of the situation, kind of just like Dee Ford. Like Dee Ford going into last year, we talked about it at nauseum. Like we all thought he was going to retire, but we also knew like, okay, he's not retiring, but we don't know what he would. What can we count on Dee Ford for? Can we count on him for playing 33% of the snaps, 45% of the snaps? Like what kind of threshold are we looking for? And to be honest, we talked about it going into last year with Dee Ford, it was like a 0% threshold. Like you couldn't go into that year like relying on production. And I think that's going to be the same thing. I think that's going to be the same thing with Verrett if he does return. It's a much different situation between Dee Ford and Verrett. But again, if Verrett does come back on a team-friendly deal, then I believe you are going to have to still build and acquire more depth at the position, whether it's starting depth or just depth overall. I think it needs to happen. So we're going to find out. We'll see what happens with Verrett, but that is going to lead us into some of the first prospects that we're going to be looking at. YouTube Detail in the building. What's up, my boy? Shoot Detail follow on YouTube. Uh, Faithful member of the Sourdough Squad before the Sourdough Squad was even a thing. Shout out Detail. But yes, just like Josh was talking about, this might be the most important thing. I know a lot of people are talking about this starting depth, which we will talk about today. We'll talk about potential starting level cornerbacks that could come in and fit and be a start. And maybe Ambry Thomas shifts down to nickel. I don't know. Maybe. But that's what we'll talk about. But we're also going to be talking about it from this perspective of depth. So it's going to be a two-pronged situation. Today is cornerbacks only. We will focus on safeties because safeties do, as Packett's is saying, Tart is a free agent. So there's a hole to fill. Obviously, Talanoa Hufanga is on the roster, can be that, can do that. I'm just saying we're gonna save the safety talk. It's gonna be its own episode. We can literally silo each position and spend a dedicated hour and a half live just talking about that. So let's get into it. It's probably the longest warm up in the history of YouTube. But let's get into it. And smash that like button if you haven't already. Get this thing into the universe. So, what does the chat think? What does the chat think? Is JC Jackson? So, I want to preface too, when we start going through free agency, one of the key things that I look at right away is age. I'm admittedly an ageist when it comes to building out rosters. I like I like to get my rosters infused with young talent that is not only capable of playing and in being impactful now, but playing and being impactful now and still growing and still developing. Again, big developmental guy. So I like getting young talent in the building that can be an impact now but can still have potential growth moving up and through. Again, we're signing a free agent. So if we're signing a free agent, it's going to be 2, likely 3-year deal minimum. So you have to look at these guys as a growth piece. Not only what can they do in 2022, but what can they do in 2023? What can they do in 2024? And how does that all work out? So right off the top, JC Jackson. And I think JC Jackson is kind of the leader in the clubhouse amongst, 49er fans in regards to what they see from him. I think they see a guy. I mean, you see it right here. Marcos is saying JC Jackson will be another Sherman. I believe they have different kind of skill set, but however, impact, I can understand what you're talking about. JC Jackson would be great pickup, but knowing the 49ers history, they usually don't go after top free agents. That is true. That is true. That's going to be a part of the thought process that we're working through. But hey, we're going to look at it all and we're going to see what we like. Again, this is part of the process. Um, we are going to see what we like as well. Not what we're going to talk about what we think the 49ers do, but we're also going to talk about what we want to do. Very different. Very different. So let's pull the chat. JC Jackson, again, projected contract, 4 years, 18 million per year average. Essentially, they're projecting a 4-year, $72 million deal. So do you guys feel comfortable? Because this is now the part of the year where we start to talk about cap, we start to talk about money and those types of things. Again, these players are turning into assets real quick. So 4 years, 72 million, 56 million guaranteed. Do you think the 49ers even entertain that conversation? So far, I'm getting, won't spend that. Yeah, we won't spend that. Juju saying too much. Vince says, I don't think so. We got no chance. Nope. Jackson is a pipe dream. No, not comfortable. Look at DJ working. 211 people in here, only 73 likes. We get to 100 real quick. Luke says Jackson, Howard, Gilmore talk is not realistic. 49ers would love to pay those guys, but I don't think we will have it. And Jackson will get 19 to 20 million. So I think, again, we're a smart group. We understand the difference between want and need. We understand viable versus non-viable. And basically it does feel like I think Brew is on it, pretty much on it right now. And it's a nice setting stone for this episode and how we now start to put our GM caps on and think about how we want to build out the roster. And with Emmanuel Mosley, with Ambry Thomas, Diamador in the wings, who knows what he's going to be. Hey, but I don't know if that amount of money for a guy who's extremely talented, 26 years old. He was the seventh highest graded cornerback in 2021. Now, it was a big jump from 2022. He went from 29th highest ranked to seventh ranked. And I think a lot of that had to do with some of the interception production, of course. Turnovers are a big deal. But he's also proven to be just a stout cornerback, just to be someone who is a baller. Detail says knowing the 49ers, they thrive in the draft room, not so much big free agent area. Yeah, no, I think they really do kind of focus on signing their own first, and that's also a good point from Justin. That's also a good point from Justin. Don't feel like they prioritize the position. I would agree with you. Again, look at Shanny, Kyle Shanny, and Adam Peters. There's two positions historically under their tenure, at least with the 49ers, that they don't prioritize, at least from a draft standpoint. Um, I guess I don't know. At least it's offensive line and cornerback. Now, they have drafted offensive line high. They have signed an offensive lineman to the highest paid deal in the world. But how I prioritize offensive line, I'm drafting an offensive lineman in the first three rounds, first 3-4 rounds every year. Like, that's just how I'm wired. But that's not the same. So I think we're gonna get to this in a little bit, but Corey wants to get it out there right now, and I think this is gonna be something. Let's just do it right now. Let's just do it right now since let's Corey's bringing it up. I think we just discussed a top tier talent, right? We discussed a top tier free agent prospect, what he is likely going to get, at least in the range. But what we've kind of identified is if the 49ers are going to go in and sign a free agent, especially at the cornerback position, it's going to be one of these middle tier guys. And if you come down, DJ Reed, hey, we know DJ Reed. We had him for free. We drafted him, but we let him go. We let him go, became cornerback one for the Seattle Seahawks. I mean, I get it. He's been okay. I think about it. We bring DJ Reed back to do what like he was supposed to do. Play nickel cornerback and or rotate with Ambry or find like I feel like again, he's 5'9". He's built like a nickel corner. Um he had a good year in 2020. Uh with 630 snaps, he was the 14th highest graded cornerback in 2020 and then basically in 2021 got even better with 1,000 snaps with a 78.6 grade, which had him ranked 8th. DJ Reed is under contract. Well, according to Pro Football Focus, he's not under contract. He's their 76th ranked free agent. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to default to Pro Football Focus on this particular one. Did we do it? Let's go, squad. Look at the squad. We got to 100. We see the crew. We see the crew doing in work, putting in the work. DJ, detail. We see you. See if we get to 150 now. But with DJ Reed, they're projecting his contract at 3 years, 27 million, 15 million guaranteed. He would definitely be the highest paid cornerback on our roster. He would definitely be the highest paid cornerback on our roster at that amount. So it's still a decent amount. It's still a decent amount. But again, he's 25. Something to think about. Clearly, he was drafted by this organization. They know who he is. Does he want to come back? I don't know. It'd be something interesting to monitor. Not someone that I necessarily am going to shove out the door. But just like Corey's saying, I kind of like the idea of bringing DJ Reed too at the right price. And if that is something that he wants to, and he fits a role. He fits a role as an experienced cornerback. Again, 25 years old. He's proven as a starter that he is a capable uh, cornerback, so could be an option for the San Francisco 49ers. But let's go back to the top and work our way down. So the number 15th ranked PFF free agent, um, his cornerback, Stephon Gilmore. Now, I know you guys remember. When he was up for the trade. I would have to say, like, it felt like 90%. Felt like 90% of fans really wanted Stephon Gilmore. Um, Stephon Gilmore, to me, he feels more like Richard Sherman. Like, he feels more like a Richard Sherman signing, where he could come in, be that veteran leader of the entire defense, and be able to fill that kind of role. But this is what he's looking for. Projected contract per PFF. 2 years, 28 million total, 20 million guaranteed. At 31 years old, I like the idea of it, but I don't know if we can pay for it. I don't know. Might be something, and again, 31 heading towards 32 in season. Again, I'm admittedly my ageism is going to come out here. I don't know. I don't know if I want to pay that much money for a guy on the back half of 30. Now, I respect his game. I think he's very talented. Again, he was the 11th ranked cornerback last year with the Panthers. And we know the Panthers had struggles on their offensive side, which translated to the defense. But hey, I don't know. This, to me, right here, feels like if the 49ers do want to go out and make a move and sign a free agent cornerback to come in and compete as a starter, I I like Carlton Davis. I like Carlton Davis for a couple reasons. 25 years old. So again, ageism. I like the age. We're going to sign him to a 2-3 year contract, 4-year contract. Then I want the guy to be able to still be able to grow and mature. So I like the idea of Carlton Davis. I don't know if that is something that's going to happen. Um, did he get franchised? He might have got franchised. I don't know. Did he get franchised? I don't think he got franchised. Yeah, I don't think he got franchised. They're projecting him to get franchised. So that's what PFF is doing right here. They are essentially projecting that Carlton Davis will, in fact, get franchised at 17 million. I don't know if that's what they do. I don't know if that's what the Bucks opt to do. Um, maybe it is. I don't know. It seems like a lot to pay. I think Carlton Davis is really good prospect. Man coverage, boss. He's physical. Um, I love his traits. I think he has the nastiness that you like in cornerbacks, that dog, especially at the cornerback position. I really like what Carlton brings to the table. So I don't know what the deal ultimately looks like, but I think he's gonna be one of the higher sought after free agents because of those reasons, because he can't play man coverage, because of his age, because he has that grittiness and toughness to him. Those are traits that I personally look for in cornerbacks. I really like Carlton Davis. I don't know if that's going to be something that they do, but personally, it would be someone that if that's what we decided as a franchise, Carlton Davis would be at top of my list, seeing what we could get for him. Darius Williams ranked 20th. To be honest, I don't know a whole lot about Darius Williams. Um, was the only restricted free agent to receive a first round tender last offseason at a value of 4.7 million. Um, because essentially in 2020, he was the fourth highest graded cornerback per PFF. So he had a really good year in 2020. 2021, not so good. Not so good for Darius, 79th ranked. So I don't know enough about him, and he's 5'9". So again, 5'9" area, I feel more comfortable as nickel. Could be a need, could be a role. I don't know. But based on the contract they're projecting, seems like it's way too much. Um, Casey Hayward. Casey Hayward is interesting in the sense of cost. Likely going to sign 1-year deal, maybe a 2-year deal. He's 32. That tooth is getting long in that tooth, Casey. Again, Casey Hayward also does have experience with Anthony Lynn when Casey Hayward was with the Los Angeles Chargers, having the best years of his career. So who knows? I mean, I get it, Anthony Lynn's offense, but he knows the guy. There's a relationship there. So maybe, again, don't discount relationships in the NFL. If there's anything that we have learned about watching Kyle Shanahan, watching him build a staff, watching him sign free agents, he brings people in that he has experience with and or people around him have experience with. So just something to keep in mind. Is he an ideal target? Not necessarily, but he's a great depth target, right? I'm sure if we had to position Casey Hayward as depth, not a starter, but as depth, 1-year veteran depth piece. Would you be okay with that? Would you not want that? Let me see in the chat. What are you thinking about good old Casey? It's crazy, man, watching some of these players get old, man. It's crazy. I remember when Casey Hayward was lighting up the league with the Chargers. Now he's on the back end of the career. Again, depth or not even worth it. The Jedi said, yeah, it would be cheap. So, yeah, exactly. For depth, I'll take it. Corey says Hayward can be a guy that can push Ambry Thomas to keep getting better. We do need young players, but at the cornerback position, we actually have a decent amount of young players. I'm actually not opposed to bringing in some depth with veteran presence. Steven Nelson, he could be a depth piece. Again, he's not going to be a guy that is really going to wow you. Do a whole lot. I think he's very serviceable. I think he's solid. But again, 29. I don't know. Could be a depth piece. We'll see. But if we're talking about older players, if we're talking about depth pieces, veterans, I kind of like Bryce Callahan. Now, I don't know what Bryce Callahan's going to go for. According to PFF, they're projecting the contract to be 2 years, $10 million. I don't know about you, but 2 years, $10 million. I would take a shot at that because he is a slot cornerback. The 49ers do need a slot corner. They're probably going to move on from K1. So I don't know. Maybe he's getting older. He got hurt. Again, Bryce to me would be a potential starting nickel, but again, the cost doesn't seem too good. Media says that PFF grade though, yeah, not great. I mean, but you can see he only had 500 snaps, so and also Denver had a ton of cornerback talent. With them drafting the young rookie out of Alabama, and some of the other. They had Kyle Fuller over there. So I don't know. Maybe his role got bumped. Who knows? But maybe that can allow him to be cheaper. Again, all part of the consideration. We're in that category. DJ's calling for some likes. We're over 300 now. I bet we could get at least 150. I bet we could get 150 in the next couple minutes. I think the Sourdough Squad's up for that. This is a guy that I kind of like too, not at a high price though. I like Dante Johnson. Not like a ton, not like I'm gonna be banging the table. Like the 49ers need to do whatever they need to do to go out and get Dante Jackson, excuse me. Um, Dante Jackson, again, if you recall, former number 8 overall pick, out of South Carolina. Um, no, excuse me. That was not correct. He was a former the number 8 overall pick was JC Horn. Dante Jackson was a former first round pick, but I believe he was a later first round pick, not number 8 overall. Um, and clearly the Panthers got JC Horn. They also added Stephon Gilmore. So maybe he could be a fit. Again, I like the age, 26 years old. I mean, overall, he hasn't been like a stellar cornerback, but he's been serviceable. And so that's kind of the fine line that we're towing. Do we want to spend a lot of money on a guy who's going to contribute? Do we want to spend mid money on a mid level? Do we want to so that's just kind of like we're basically shopping for cars at this point. Like figure out what our budget is. I want the Lamborghini. I really do. I think the Lamborghini would be fantastic. But can I afford the Lamborghini? Is the Lamborghini practical? Is that going to work for my day-to-day commute? Probably not. So that's kind of the area that I think we're kind of in, especially kind of at cornerback because we do have starting caliber guys on the roster. Emmanuel Mosley is no slouch, and Ambry Thomas proved that he could take that next step forward. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be very interesting to see how they budget their money in free agency. Because if the offensive line falls apart like it could, then I would imagine you're going to have to divert a lot of free agency cash towards the offensive line. You're gonna need guys that are experienced this is gonna be. I know the fans, they want the shutdown corner. They want the CB1. It might have to be a draft guy. You might have to try to find another guy in the third round, second round that has those elite traits, maybe a couple questions, maybe an injury question. I know a lot of fans don't want to hear that. Drafting a guy with injury concerns. I don't. But that's how you get guys with immense skill sets, but they drop in value because they have an injury history. So, or they have a history of maybe questionable things off the field. So that's kind of the area that they have to toe. Do they want to spend a lot? Do they want to spend a little? Where are they putting their money? All that stuff. All that stuff. What's the salary that I think they can afford? They can go over 5. Honestly, you see Patrick Peterson here, 1 year, $6 million. I really feel like they're gonna have to take the money and they're gonna have to put it towards nickel first because I think they have to be able to get a nickel, whether it's K1 returning or they opt for someone else. That is going to be interesting. I mean, you got some young cornerbacks here in Rasul Douglas, who I think had a pretty decent year last year. Mike Hughes. I believe Mike Hughes was a former first-round pick from Minnesota. So maybe those are two guys that you can get relative. I mean, Mike Hughes is 24, about to be 25. Maybe you want to grab a guy like that for cheap, young and cheap. But I kind of agree, like maybe 5, maybe 6 million a year is probably your threshold for free agent spending on a cornerback or less. Again, Eli Apple's going to be a free agent. Ahkello Witherspoon, free agent. Sidney Jones. So there are some guys you can get that they're not going to have the impact that you want of a cornerback one, but that's kind of, I think, maybe the thought process. If you can sign Jason Verrett on a 1-year incentive-based deal, and then you go out and grab one of these younger guys and or a Chris Harris Jr. Now I get it. He's definitely long in the tooth, but maybe there is a situation um, that can occur. So that's what we're looking for. Something around there. At least as YouTube GMs. That's what we're looking for. But I do think there's an ability to potentially re-sign Jason Verrett and go out and potentially get a starting nickel corner and or grab someone like a Joe Hayden to fill that Josh Norman role. To fill the Josh Norman role. And all that good stuff. And that's kind of what I'm looking for. That's kind of what I'm looking for. So this is kind of the list that we got of potential free agents, and kind of after we've run through, the top ranked guys, we've talked about a bunch of different scenarios, potential outcomes. What are you guys feeling like? Do you guys still feel like you want to attack potentially a JC Jackson, a Stephon Gilmore, or are you feeling more like, hey, I want to go after one of these young high-end cornerbacks. I'll spend some money, but I want to get a guy like Carlton Davis potentially. It's going to be interesting to see what DJ Reed goes for. Or are you looking for kind of a fringe, maybe push for a starting role and or just good depth? We talked about this a little bit ago. I like it. I like the thought of bringing DJ Reed back. I love it, to be honest with you, especially because of his age. He's 25 years old, and we brought him in to be the nickel. That's why he was drafted. And the 49ers need a nickel. And to me, DJ Reed has proven to be a solid quality starting cornerback in this league. And he fits the nickel role if we need. And he can also play outside corner in a pinch. He's versatile. And of course, he knows us. So that will be interesting to see how that works out. If he's going to hold any grudges against the 49ers for cutting him and letting him get swooped by the Seahawks. But I do like it. I'm not going to lie. I would take Spoon back. I know it's not popular. At all. And I don't know if the 49ers would actually do it, but I do like it. I like Spoon a lot. I've always liked Spoon. I don't know if he likes the 49ers that much. Bay Area Native says, didn't DJ talk bad about the 49ers after joining the Seahawks? I don't think so. I don't think so. If he did, I missed it. I saw what he did this year, though. He put out like a little hype video of I think the homie Leo Luna, talking about how like the 49ers weren't going to miss DJ Reed, and he put out like a little, used that at the beginning, did a little hype off that. I thought it was a great video. I don't think it was trash talking, but again, I could have missed that. So would be interesting to see. And again, I see we need Gilmore. Also something to keep in mind, good call here. I don't know if Surtain would actually be available. I don't think he would. But if you did want to get a cornerback and you didn't want to have to rely on free agency or the draft, you could try to get a cornerback. You can get a position of need in return for Jimmy Garoppolo. So that's going to be one of the interesting things that continues to progress throughout this offseason. Josh Jackson, he's from Iowa, right? I believe he was the Iowa prospect. Where did he go? Did he go to Green Bay? Um, I don't know. Jeep is saying Gilmore is not the answer. You guys are stuck in the past. I personally don't know if the 49ers would go that route either, unless it was, hey, I want to win. But we got a young kid at quarterback, so that's going to be interesting to see how the vets handle that. Jason says, "Man, I'm feeling that Raiders trade for Mariota as QB2." Hey, I thought that was funny today that Bleacher Report put that out. I was like, "Hey, that's what we've been talking about." I was like, and if you haven't been with us, I've been talking about how I like the Raiders being a potential trade target to get Jimmy Garoppolo, and it's not popular. It wasn't a trade idea that was met with great popularity. Um, and I understand why, but I think it's funny that Bleacher Report proposed the same exact trade. Essentially, they didn't propose the trade; they proposed the trade to the Raiders. Um, I proposed getting a second round and Trayvon Morig back. Again, there's the safety hole filled instantly, boom, with the guy that the 49ers could and potentially should have drafted in the second round last year. And they traded back with the Raiders. Raiders took Morig. Um, Again, new regime. There's no ties to Morig. There is none. Uh, Mike McDaniel, or not Mike McDaniel, Josh McDaniels, and the new general manager coming over from New England Patriots land. They have zero ties to any single person on that roster. So any team that has a new general manager and a new coach, you can kind of look at their roster and be like, maybe some of these guys are going to be up for grabs. That's just how it works. New regimes come in, they want to bring in their guys, and they want to get rid of guys that they don't see a future with, even if they are good. Even if they are good, they just it's a new regime, it's a new culture. Again, 49ers let go of Navarro Bowman when Kyle Shanahan took over. 49ers let Kaepernick go when Kyle Shanahan took over. It's part of the process. Even though we might see these guys as pieces who can't be moved, it's not the same when you get in a new general manager and a new head coach who are literally coming in to tear everything down and rebuild it on a new foundation. You can't do that off guys that are still foundational pieces of the old regime. That's why I think Derek Carr gets traded. He could stick around, but I don't think, especially if they could grab Jimmy, if you could grab Jimmy and trade Derek Carr, and this is the conversation that I've been having, is people, oh, almost there, almost to 150, almost to 150. But what I keep talking about is like people tell me, well, Derek Carr's better than Jimmy Garoppolo. And my question back to you is, in what sense? In what sense is he better? Because if you really look at the situation and how Derek Carr plays, you can say arm talent. He's probably got a more live arm. He's willing to go downfield more. But Derek Carr is just as skittish in the pocket as anyone else in the NFL. And there's more to clearly playing the quarterback position than actually playing football. I feel like that is one of the most valuable lessons that we have learned this year is locker room leadership matters. Now, I get it. Carr does have some solid traits. Derek Carr is someone that I really liked coming out of Fresno State. I just wish he didn't. I wish he didn't go to the Raiders. I wish he didn't go to the Raiders. But I still think there's a bunch of flaws in Derek Carr's game. And Jimmy would actually fit the mold of someone trying to reshape a regime. So there are different levels to this. It's not just on-field play. It's just not just traits. Again, when you look at Kyle and you look at what he did and how he transformed the roster, I'll ask you guys this question. Is Brian Hoyer better than Colin Kaepernick? Is that something where you're like, oh yeah, Brian Hoyer, absolutely better than Colin Kaepernick? No, probably not. Colin Kaepernick had one of the highest, his traits were through the roof. Arm talent, size, speed. Like, was he maybe a shell of himself? Probably. That's probably why they got rid of him. For Hoyer. That's the point. The point is not like, oh, well, he can throw it further than him. He's more accurate than him. No, this is a locker room conversation. This is a locker room conversation, people. This is about leadership. We have one of the best leaders in the NFL, whether you like it or not. Whether you like it or not, the 49ers have one of the best leaders in the NFL, and that is valuable. That is valuable. And as I was ranting, we hit 150 likes. Let's freaking go. Sourdough Squad in the building. You love to see it. Great work, DJ. DJ's grinding. Exactly, Luke. Mods respect other mods. Just saying. Hey, we gotta be nice amongst the mods for show. But that is my piece. That is my piece on why I think it's a fit. And it's not a fit for how a lot of people think it as. Like, oh, he's a better quarterback. Depends on your definition of what a better quarterback is, because likely our definitions of what better quarterbacks are in this specific context, probably not the same. Probably not the same. But I like it. I like it. What? What? You wouldn't mind? I don't understand this fan base sometimes, man. You wouldn't mind? I mean, I don't disagree with this. I won't be shocked if Kittle isn't a forever Niner, even though he should be. Kittle should be a forever Niner. He should be Joe Staley. But, hey, I don't know if it's going to happen. I would be lying to you. We still have Warner? Listen. I love Warner. I think Warner took great strides this year. He jumped Ross Dwelley, and rightfully so. And when he jumped Ross Dwelley, the offense started to work again because of his blocking. But we still have Warner Oh, I told you. Oh, we're close. I think we're heading towards that part of the episode where we're a little bit off the rails. We're definitely towards that episode where we're a little bit off the rails. Oh, goodness. Hey, I love it. I'm not above approach. Heisman said Brad knows what he's talking about. Y'all crazy. Hey, a lot of people crazy. It is what it is, man. It is what it is, man. But you know how we do it around here. Kittle's a goat around these parts. Kittle is the goat around these parts. Also, too, another thing that doesn't make sense. For So if you are going to be a person that comes in and says trade X person, you have to explain it. Like, you have to explain why you're trading McGlinchey. What do you get from Mike? What do you get from a guy who is injured, is dealing with an injury that potentially he might not return from? I think he will return. I don't think that's going to be an issue. But he's literally dealing with a season-ending injury. He's due $10 million. What are you going to get for him? What are you going to get? Like, what? You going to trade Kittle? Trade Kittle, get like a $15 million dead cap? That makes sense. We're going to just trade the guy. We're not going to be able to afford to sign anyone back onto the roster because his dead cap is too high. But we're just going to trade him. Good stuff. I think people say things, yeah, you can save 10 million, but who is picking up 10 million for an injured offensive lineman? And what are you getting in return? Again, cost prohibitive. If you don't know what that means, go look it up. Trading Mike McGlinchey is cost prohibitive. Doesn't make sense. You can say it as loudly as you want, and you can puff your chest out and, be a Mike McGlinchey troll if that's what you want. But just understand what you're saying doesn't make logical sense. But that's fine if that's where we want to go. Steelers will take McGlinchey. Good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff, guys. Good stuff. But anyways, was there anything else that we wanted? Anything we wanted to talk about regarding free agent cornerbacks? Let's go. Hey, shout out the moderators. Look at that. I didn't even see what's going on. Shout out the mod squad. I didn't even see. Look at this. I love this. Hey, keep doing the Lord's work, Luke Luna and the rest of the mod squad. I didn't even see it. So, that's how you know it's working. Let's go, boys. Hey, Saudo mod squad, let's go. Built different. I didn't even see it. Hey, I'm not even having to put boys on timeout. Let's go. I love it. Hey, shout out the mod squad. Absolutely. That's a W for the mod squad. Let's go. First one I've seen. Shout it out. And let your W's be known, mod squad. You guys are moderators for a reason. Guys are moderators for a reason. We're gonna have trolls in here. They're gonna come in talking mess. They're gonna be talking out the side of their mouth because that's what they do. They thrive. I get it. There's trauma somewhere along the way for these people. Like whether it was in their home life with their family, whether it was growing up and what they've had to experience, there's going to be trauma there. And sometimes people deal with trauma by getting outward reactions from other people who are vibing just to make themselves feel better. So we understand the dichotomy and the psychology behind trolls, but shout out the mod squad for I don't even see it. Exactly. Who hurt you? Who hurt you? No, she's not allowed to. She's not. Do not. She's not allowed to get blocked. If you do, we're gonna have problems. Joyce is a real one. Don't even try it, Joyce. I'm not even gonna let it happen. Corey says thoughts on cornerback Desmond King being a potential ad. I don't mind it. I don't mind it. Again, it's going to be one of those. It's going to be one of those situations where I think he fits depth. He's older, brings a veteran presence. I like what right. I'm thinking of the right person, right? I think there's a couple Kings out there, and I want to make sure that I'm not getting them mixed up. Okay, so he's not even that old. He's 27 years old. I don't know why I thought he was like 32. But yeah, Desmond King, where did he come from? 6th-round pick. He's currently on the Texans, 5'10", 200 pounds, age 27. Yep, he's the Iowa kid. Okay, that's who I was thinking of. I got my ages mixed up. Yes, I like that. No, I like that a lot. Especially, he's all pro in 2018. He really came on to this. Chase ain't having it, but he does play slot. He is younger than, I was getting Kevin King and Desmond King mixed up, but they're both young. I got them somehow intertwined with the Harrises. So it's Desmond King was a Charger, and he came on to the scene hot too. He came in hot. And again, guess who's on the team? Desmond King was drafted when Anthony Lynn was the head coach. So again, you have to pay attention to the relationships. I've been doing this long enough to understand that if you kind of just follow the relationships, you're like, oh, well, these guys worked together before. There's an opportunity potentially for them to come back together. It happens a lot. So when you start to peel back the curtain and you start to be like, oh, well, Desmond King was actually drafted by Anthony Lynn and could be a fit for the 49ers. Like that, it actually makes more sense as I'm talking it through. So, yeah, I actually like that. Desmond King, again, 27 years old. He has played at a very high level before. Maybe, fell off a little bit for sure, but he's still 27. Get him in a right environment. Environment matters, man. You get in a right environment, you could start to see the kid blossom a little bit, maybe flourish. I like that. I actually like that. I agree with Roman. I like that. Especially in the slot too. I actually like that. Yo, what's up, Harris? What's good? All my homies support mod timeouts and blocks mods for president mods 2024. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Like I think it was getting a little trolly in here, but then I recognized it kind of disappeared quickly. Shout out the mods, fam. We're moving. We move. Hey, like yeast, we rise. You know the vibes. Yeah, I will. I will take a stab at this. So I kind of agree. I've been kind of keeping this thought process in mind. Um, I don't think Dee Ford is going anywhere. He could, but I don't necessarily think he is going to go anywhere. Just based on the contract extension, based on how it all worked out. Or not the contract extension, the reworking of the deal and pushed it back further. He might be here. He really might be here. Let's take a look. So this is the breakout. So this is a cool little tool that you can use. Come on, get these stupid ads out of here. I want to make it a little bigger. So we can see right here, Dee Ford. So he's the 6th highest paid player on the San Francisco 49ers right now. Clearly, that hurts in the sense of we can't rely on him. We don't We can't look at Dee Ford and be like, that guy's going to, we talked about it earlier, that guy's going to give us 33% snaps in 2022. We don't know. Like it's literally don't know. But let's say the 49ers were to restructure the base salary yet again. How much money are you saving? You're saving 640,000. At least based on this model, and this is a very accurate model for how all these contracts play together. If you restructure, you're saving 640. So you're really not saving anything with a restructure. And then if you actually just outright release and cut Dee Ford, you're still incurring almost a $10 million dead cap hit. Like where that 10 million essentially isn't going anywhere. It's not. So, based on this, again, I'm not a capologist. I'm not going to pretend I'm a capologist. But the tools available, and we click the buttons, and then it shows us the numbers. I like that. When you click the button that says release Dee Ford from the roster, it says you will save $2 million. Now, $2 million could eventually be a player, could be a fringe starter, right? When looking at it all. So there could be a benefit, but I guarantee you this team wants to get a return from this man. They paid this man too much money. They paid him too much money to just and pushed his money back. Like, I feel like they want to get something out of him. So if you're only saving $2 million, according to this model, if you cut and released Dee Ford, you're only saving $2 million, which occurs a $9.8 million dead cap hit, from my understanding. It's like, well, you might as well keep him then. Because what if the year you cut him is the year he gets healthy and he signs for a vet minimum with the Seattle Seahawks and goes off for 14 sacks? Like, you don't want that either. So it's going to be something that we continue to monitor. It's going to be something that, it's just an unfortunate situation. They get injuries, they just suck, man. He's not happy about it. He's getting paid for it, but he's not happy about it. I guarantee you, he wants to be out playing. He doesn't want to hear us, know that we're talking like, this dude's this dude's just paperweight at this point. We're at 189. I bet we get to 200 real quick. Get that likes up to 200. See if we can get that in about a blink of an eye. I believe in the sourdough squad. But so that's the thing, man. I kind of feel like Dee Ford's gonna be backed. Luke says, Brad, I know you connect with Brunny, but we could upgrade that position. But we absolutely need to keep him. Not at 5.5. We could lose him if a team will pay him that. I agree with that. I don't think we can match, and I think that's going to be another thing that's a part of this is if they're not prioritizing Lake and Tomlinson, then I don't know. Are they going to prioritize Brunskill? But again, our perception too is much different of how they value internally. I know internally from an offensive lineman standpoint, there's a lot of respect. There's a lot of respect for what Daniel Brunskill does. There's a lot of respect for what he's had to do. So now that might not permeate outside the building and might not permeate to the fan base. But I do think they look at him as a value. I've heard the way Kyle Shanahan talked about Daniel Brunskill all year when asked about him, and he had nothing but not only good things to say, but in a sense defending Brunskill. So I think they're, again, just like how it always is, we're gonna have a much different perception than they do inside that building. Let's go, we did it. Shout out DJ. Shout out the mods today, bro. Hey, the mods are the real MVP today. Shout out the mods. Mods are the real MVP today. We got Luke backhanding trolls. We got DJ getting the likes up. We got the rest of the mod squad just bringing immaculate vibes. Gotta love it. Got to love it. Gotta love it. Good stuff, guys. Justin says, Brad, could you see them taking a big swing on Harold Landry? I honestly don't really like. Again, we're looking at the overall kind of health of the roster. Like, let's say for the sake of this particular exercise, the 49ers do release Dee Ford. We get my dream trade of sending Jimmy to Josh McDaniels. They give me my son, both Jordan Elliott's and I's son, Trayvon Morig. We're going to process that trade. That's going to clear up an additional $24 million. Do you guys know off the top of your head? I'm going to ask you guys this: is 209 the total cap in 2022? You know what? I'm going to do a quick Google search. I can do that as well. 2022 NFL cap. Let's see, because I know it increased by 25 million, right? So cap space went up 25 million. Cap projected to be okay. No, so that is accurate. So that is with the current numbers at place. This does look like the total available cap will be in that ballpark of 209. So I don't know. I don't know, because again, once you trade Jimmy, you're able to clear up at least 24 million from the cap space. Let's say, for example, what other move do we think we could make? Oh, I don't like to do this, but let's say Alex Mack retires. I don't know if this number changes with the retirement as opposed to a release. But let's just say, for sake of argument, he does retire. And let's say the 49ers do save in the ballpark of $4 million. They would then have about 30 million at that point to not only spend on replacements, but they got to pay their dudes. Deebo Samuel is going to be up for contract extension. Nick Bosa is going to be up for a contract extension. The money still feels kind of tight. At this moment. I mean, you got guys like Weston Richburg still accounting for 3.4 million of the cap space. In 2022. Jalen Hurd, the gift that keeps on giving. He will account for 28, almost 300,000 in cap space. Oh, good stuff. So it's going to be a moving target. It's going to be something that, again, I'm not a capologist. Numbers are not my friend. But it gives us an overall kind of idea if they are able to make some of these moves and clear up cap space. And to me, you can't spend big money on Harold Landry until you know what's going on with your offensive line. I think Harold Landry would be fantastic for the 49ers, but at what cost? And I think they have to figure out what the hell's going on with that O line. They need to figure out who is going to be at center. They need to figure out who's going to flank the center at guards. They need to figure out if McGlinchey will be healthy or not. And they're going to have a replacement. They thankfully have a young talent in Jalen Moore who showed promise. So hopefully he can continue to develop and be a guy that we can rely on. I would not mind having Tom Compton back at all. I think Tom Compton found a home with the 49ers, and I would love to see him return, especially on a deal that we could afford him on. But for me to like feel comfortable saying, let's take a big swing on an edge, let's take a big swing on a cornerback, let's take a big swing on a safety. I'm so nervous about the offensive line. I'm really, really nervous about the offensive line. And again, I'm become more nervous. Like, let's say, for example, the 49ers don't extend Lakin. Is that a push in the right direction for Alex Mack to retire? Again, I already don't see it as a positive having to switch quarterbacks for Alex Mack, going from a veteran of all veterans, going from a pro's pro to a rookie, essentially a rookie. And that's how they talk about Trey. They talk about Trey's kid. They talk about, he's still developing, he's still learning, still finding his way. That's much different than a veteran quarterback who's been there, done it, been through the fire, knows how to lead a team of alphas and get the respect from an entire roster. Again, Jimmy doesn't care if he gets the respect from the fan base. I mean, I'm sure he does, but ultimately at the end of the day, what he cares about is the respect that he gets from the locker room, his coaching staff, and other 49ers employees. And he has it. So transitioning from that to a rookie, there's going to be bumps and bruises from the intangible side. Now, we're going to talk about the measurables, the physical traits that Trey Lance is clearly a far and above better than Jimmy Garoppolo, but that's not what made Jimmy Garoppolo a good quarterback. What made Jimmy Garoppolo a good quarterback were the intangible traits. And those are the traits that we try to find when we scout. And those are the traits that I've been able to identify have the biggest outcome in positive play, positive development. If you've got the traits, if you have the want to, the will, the heart, the desire, there will be roadblocks that come in your way. And if you have that as a player that just to keep fighting through that, that's the difference. That you're looking for those traits. The it factor, those are the kinds of traits that they're looking for. Luke says Brunny can play all positions. I think we should keep him. I respect the hell out of him. I defend Brunny. I'm just saying, if we pay Lakin, it will be hard to match. And I agree. That's why I'm terrified. That's why I'm terrified about what's going to happen with the offensive line. I'm concerned. I'm concerned. I don't necessarily know what they're going to be doing, how they're going to pay it. And then again, like I said, to me, that transitions into how they manage the rest of the offensive line. Because this, like, I respect the thought process here, but I'm going to be honest. Jalen Moore is not a guard. He's just not. We had to deal with that conversation in the offseason about replacing Brunskill. Jalen Moore is not a guard. He's like legitimately not a guard, at least right now. Where Jalen Moore struggles the most is in run blocking. And you got to be real physical as a run blocker to play interior offensive line. And it's not his skill set. His skill set is he is a pro level quality pass blocker as a rookie. He struggles in the run game. So kicking him down to guard is literally you're taking away his best trait and then you're making him utilize his worst trait. That's not how you coach. That's not how you build rosters. Kicking Jalen Moore down to guard probably wouldn't be the best idea unless you absolutely just had to do it. Like, you just had to do it. There was no options. Um, but I don't think that's an option that they want to have to rely on. I just don't think that's the case. Aaron Banks, I mean, he kind of has to start. He kind of has to start at this point, especially if one of these linemen walk. Lindstorm, I've heard good buzz about Lindstorm. I haven't watched Lindstorm yet, so I'm gonna reserve Lindstrom. I'm gonna reserve my evaluation until I actually do a breakdown on Lindstrom, but that could be an option. Um, and I'm the guy. I'm also, just so I'm clear, I'm the guy who raises his hand up every year and says you can find starting offensive linemen in the third and fourth round. Like, you can do that every year, like clockwork. Um, the interior offensive line is a position that is very lowly regarded, especially when you start to get into those like second, third. That's when you start getting the blue chip prospects that are sliding. That's when you get more character concerned guys, and it kind of pushes offensive linemen down the board a little bit more. You can find starting interior offensive linemen third, fourth round. So that is a possibility, and I feel very confident in that. But just gotta make sure. Just gotta make sure. Uh-oh. Apparently, we got some Javon Kinlaw news. Where did it go? Oh, he deleted his Twitter too. Interesting. I'm gonna be honest. You guys know that I'm on top of the social media stuff, especially with our players. Um, I kind of train myself to, pay attention to that stuff, notice when things are changing, why they change, and if they change. And based on watching Javon Kinlaw's social media presence the last 2 years on social media, um, this is exactly it. He's just going off the grid. He doesn't want to hear no Trey, because I guarantee you people are tagging him. Trade Javon Kinlaw. Like, DMing him. Trade Javon. Hey, we should trade you. You're a bust. Guarantee you there's 49er fans in the offseason with nothing to do. Like, you know what? I'm going to go let Javon Kinlaw know how much of a bust he is. It is what it is. Every fan base has those kinds of people. 49ers fans, we absolutely have a group of people like that. So I think he's just like, I don't need social anymore. He's got the Instagram still. So it is what it is, man. It is what it is. Hopefully Javon comes back. That would really be nice. Javon could be a huge asset to the 49ers, especially if he returns. My goodness. I agree. I agree. I would just hope that if you consider yourself, a sourdough squad member, we're very small but loyal, prestigious group. We don't do that. Like, these players deal with mental health just like we deal with mental health, because guess what? They're humans. They're literally no different than you and I. They just happen to be really good at playing a kid's game that requires you to hit people really hard. That's the only difference. So again, it still boggles my mind that people think because they pay for tickets to go to a game, or they've bought their jersey, that you get to say whatever you want to another person and tell them how terrible they are, how trash they are, how they shouldn't be on this team. And it's just sad. It really is. And I just hope that none of the sourdough squad members are contributing to that. That's my only thing. It's not my vibe. Can you be a part of the sourdough squad? 100%. And I seen you contributing today, Corey. All you got to do is honestly, it's pretty simple rules right now. Just subscribe to the channel, like the video, and you're in the squad, my guy. And when we shout out, drop a SDS. If you're vibing with me, you drop a SDS. We squatted. That's it. That's it. So, um, fair criticism is a lot different than DMing a player to be like, "Hey, you suck." Even though they may suck and you in your mind might be able to conceptualize that as fair criticism, it's not. It's just being a bad human. Like, again, also, if you call yourself a fan of the San Francisco 49ers, you have to understand that you're contributing to a negative impact on a player that you ultimately want to be successful for your team. It's an completely ass backwards thought process, the way some fans like think about like how they can say whatever they want to a player based on its fair criticism though. Is that fair? If you screwed up at your job, would you want 1,000 fans dropping in your DM telling you how much of a joke you are and how you should never show your face again because it's fair criticism? I mean, you messed up, you made a mistake. So should that go, or is it just because they make millions of dollars that means you can say whatever you want to them? Again, it's just a thought process. It's a it's a type of fan that typically we around here like, hey, if that's your vibe, it's not our vibe. And the SDS, we're strong. It's not our vibe. It's just not. Again, Aaron missing the point doesn't doesn't compute. That's okay. But again, there's a reason why we're the sourdough squad. There's a reason. Uh, Great Malumbo. Nick is going to want more than 30 million. That's more than Jimmy. How would you feel about a trade for a first and Corey Linsley to the Chargers? Um, yeah, I don't like that. Um, I don't like that personally. I understand that it's going to be expensive to get Nick Bosa paid, but that's what it's about. It's about getting players, um, developing them, and then rewarding them. Again, I feel like it's a slippery slope when you take a guy like Bosa, who is respected across the locker room, um, who everyone like understands his importance to the team, to the defense, to then trade him. It's just I understand the some of the logic because of the price, and then you try to get something back in return. Uh, but that first that you're going to get in a trade for Nick Bosa probably isn't going to equate to a player that is Nick Bosa. You can reference Javon Kinlaw for Nick for DeForest Buckner. Like, how did that work out? It's the same concept. A guy you had to pay, you opted to trade a draft pick instead. Now you could probably get more than 13th overall pick for Bosa, but still, just because you're getting a pick doesn't mean it equates equal or greater value. And when you have a player like Nick Bosa, who's arguably at the highest value like attainable, a guy who just got 15 and a half sacks, who came out and said that he wasn't even full speed, like he was still coming back and rehabbing and getting back into shape. That just it's not something that I would like to entertain. It's just not something that I would like to entertain. Doesn't really make sense to me. Um, but I had the same energy when it was trading Nick Bosa over Deshaun Watson. I wanted Deshaun Watson. I wanted Deshaun Watson essentially at all costs. But you start talking about trading Nick Bosa for Deshaun Watson, like I'm out. I'm out. Like I love Deshaun Watson. I think Deshaun Watson would have been a difference maker. But I'm not gonna there's that saying, like, what is it? Like, I'm not gonna cut off my nose to spite my I don't even know, but it's like just it's one of those sayings. Like it's just like, okay, like you're cutting off your left hand to it's just I don't know. It just seems counterintuitive. I understand the cap situation, but the NFL that's an NFL problem. Like these players are going to continue to go up in price and they should have the ability to be re-signed. And if they can't, that's an NFL problem. Honestly. The cap um that's a cap the cap situation, that's an NFL problem. The NFL sets the cap. NFL does all that. The contracts don't change. Contracts don't change. Hey, it's the time of the year where we throw crap against the wall and we see if it sticks. And we understand, who's going to throw more crap than others, and that's fine. But it is what it is. I guarantee you, we're going to hear tons of trade George Kittle. We're going to hear trade, I don't know, Debo, maybe. Might as well throw that guy into the mix. We're going to talk about trading Nick Bosa. We're going to talk about trading Kyle Shanahan. We're going to talk about trading Parag Marate. We're going to talk about trading Jed York. That's what the offseason's about. I guarantee you. Guarantee you someone in our podcast community is going to come out and be like, we should trade Kyle Shanahan. Guarantee you. It's going to happen. The dog days of content are coming. And when the dog days of content are coming, anything is said. So, guess what? I think that the San Francisco 49ers should trade Levi's Stadium back to Candlestick Park. Boom. Run it. Clicks for days. Let's go. Let's go. Have I heard anything on the special teams job? No. I haven't. Joe Judge signed today. But he re-signed with the Patriots. In actually an offensive role. So again, I'm not up to speed on special teams coaches. I don't know who's out there, who's any good, who's available. So, I don't really know. Who's at defensive line? Nice. Ooh, nice. Let's go. One of the trainers that I think actually is Javon Kinlaw's trainer just got hired as assistant defensive line coach for Ohio State. Nice. Gotta love it. Oh man. All right, I'm gonna show this one. Yeah, big squirrel. I'm gonna show this one because I wanna. We should all just cry together. We're all gonna cry together on this one. So let's see what we got. I don't know if you guys were able to. I don't know if you guys saw it at all. But when all the players were in Las Vegas for the Pro Bowl, other players came out and met them. DeForest came out too. We were just talking about DeForest, man. Just talking about Defoe. So Defoe was out with the boys. I'm not gonna lie, man. That hurts a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. That hurts a little bit. Like, look, Defoe with Juice, with Bosa. Look at Kittle. The way he's looking at Bosa. Like, you got, I think that's Nate Sudfeld. You got Samson Ebukam. That's Mo Hurst. You got the GOAT. Moose, who's the 49ers Las Vegas hype man. But yeah, dude, look, they still link. Look at these four right here. These four guys are like pillars of the San Francisco 49ers and what they stand for and what they represent. Except one of them got traded. One of them got traded. And they almost traded another one. But that's a story for a different day. So now what we need to figure out, Kittle got paid. If you want to trade George Kittle and incur, I think it was like a $16 million dead cap hit, then that's for you to have fun with. It's for you to have fun with. But this man, Nick Bosa, got to get him paid. Juice, he's already paid. So I don't know. Just want to share this with you. It's always sad. But they're boys for life. They're boys for life. Thought it was worth sharing. Anyways, that was today's episode. As I mentioned, once we get to a certain point, we're just completely off the rails. And that's where we're at. So tomorrow, we're going to do similar content. Haven't decided exactly which position group. So we're going to kind of stick with free agents. We're going to try to get some of the free agents out, specifically some of the key points of emphasis, offensive line, potential defensive line, stuff like that. So we're going to look at more stuff tomorrow. Draft season, I'm absolutely getting into, like, I woke up this morning, like, I just felt like, all right, I felt like mentally, spiritually, like I'm ready for the offseason. I'm ready for it. It took a while to get there. You know, it was a hard process to actually get there, but I'm ready. I'm ready to scout. I'm ready to scout free agents. I'm ready to scout draft picks and just start building out this roster. So we took a lot of time to talk about cornerbacks today. I think, based on, the ongoing conversations with the chat, it does feel like we kind of landed on a cost effective but high upside prospect for a cornerback in free agency. Now, obviously, getting a JC Jackson would be great. Fantastic. But we understand that's not how it always works. So identifying like high upside prospects that you could get for cheap. I think we talked about Desmond King for the slot. We talked about guys like DJ Reed. Potentially, if you do want to spend a little bit more cash, and Carlton Davis. But there's like Rasul Douglas. There are some guys that available who could come in and be someone who can contribute but also not break the bank, which is kind of what we're looking for. So I think based on the group, we kind of landed on that. Looking for that high upside young prospect who can still grow and develop, but not break the bank. And because we have to monitor, right now there's only 2 million available in cap. So there's got to be a lot of moving parts for things to continue to move forward. But I think we're starting to kind of at least get the picture clear with the cornerback position and start to see, okay, maybe it is the draft. Maybe it is another area that we go, maybe not spend all that money on the top free agent. Justin, leader of the Sourdough Scouts so far, says, yo, Brad, JoJo Doman is 6'1", 230 pounds, projected to be linebacker safety. Is this a guy from Oklahoma? This isn't the guy from Oklahoma, is it? I saw some guy from Oklahoma today. I forgot his name. He wore number 24 for Oklahoma. Played linebacker. He's fast. Nebraska. Okay, I'll take a look. Yeah, I'm really excited to dive into these prospects, man. I'm being honest, like when I'm saying I'm not looking at anyone else's rankings, prospects. I don't care. Like I don't care. Like I am so just like this year, just completely insulating and just building my board out. And I think one of the things with that I noticed like with draft season is like if you kind of look up and you kind of look around and you kind of seeing like who's hyping who, like you can like you can kind of get affected by that. You can either be like, "Oh, I want to hype that guy too," or like, "Oh no, I don't want to hype that guy." Like, you start to like, I don't want to do none of that. I want to just dive into the film. I don't care what their value is or perceived value. I'm going to set the value of what I think they are and where they should go. And that's how I'm going to build out my board. And I'm really excited about that. Really excited just to like pick random guys. I got to do a mock. We got to do a mock draft soon. So maybe we can get that going later on this week. Maybe we could do our first live mock draft potentially. Um, all kinds of stuff. All kinds of stuff. But I'm gonna check out. I think, yeah, that's the guy that you told me about yesterday. Yeah, he's right there. Um, so I'm excited. I am excited to get into this, do it all, see who's good, see who's not good, see who fits, see who doesn't fit. And you know the vibes. We'll be back tomorrow for another live, uh, around the same time, around 1:30 ish, same sweet spot per usual for the Sourdough Squad. I want to shout out the mods today. Got to shout out the Sourdough Squad mods today. It was the first time, like, I think we really saw the mod squad, like, jump into action. And I thought the performance today was fantastic. Uh, Guys like Jesus, DJ, Roman's been balling, Big Heck, Ellis, Harris, my guy, Luke Luna, Jason, Sir Juju, T.O. The boys are out today. The Sourdough Squad's been a vibe so far this offseason. Corey, shout out one of the newest members of the Sourdough Squad. He says he hopes to become a member. I hope you become a member too, man. You've been rocking today. Appreciate the contributions to the show. Shout out the boy Luke Luna. Appreciate the squad as always. We'll be back tomorrow. And we find the hidden gems. We don't only look for them, we find them. You know the vibes. So we're gonna be getting to work. I'm like I woke up today, I'm writing out punch lists. I'm writing out like I'm everything that's in here is getting on paper, getting everything organized, tons of off-season content, back end build outs. We're working, baby. It might be the off season, but just know we working. So continuing to make the brand better, trying to make the content better, all that kind of stuff. So next year when the season starts, oh, we're humming. We are humming. So shout out to Sourdough Squad for vibing with me. You guys know I love you. Got all the love in the world for you guys. We'll be back tomorrow. Let's go. First timer. If you like this video and subscribe to the channel, automatically in the Sourdough Squad. What are we at, by the way? What are we at? Where did we end? Where did we end on today? Where did we? And while someone drops that in, um, Brad, do you see us getting Saquon Barkley? Nah, I just trading, right? You'd have to get him in a trade. From my understanding, he's not a free agent, and you have to trade for him. Trading for an injured running back. Oh, I would rather, ride with Elijah and see what we get. See what we get out of Trey Sermon. Okay, we're at 224. Let's go. Sourdough Squad in the building. Let's go. Appreciate the homies. Let's go. Yep, we live tomorrow too. Um, we live tomorrow too. I will be back, like I said, around the same time. Around 1:30, 1:45 tomorrow. More content, more free agency, more draft, more shenanigans, more blocking trolls, all the good stuff. All that good stuff. I mean, can we get it to two? I'm gonna put it out into the universe. Can we hit 250? So that's 20. That's 20 additional I get. We're at like 175. There is a world that exists. There's a world that exists where all 175 people watching this stream actually like the video. So maybe that doesn't happen. But there is a world that 20 of the people currently watching haven't liked the video and just could boop, boop. There is in a world where you haven't liked the YouTube video. Oh man. Later, my boy. I appreciate you, man. Come around anytime you like, mate. My guy. My guy. I'm kind of in this boat. Like I would rather have Mostert if we can get Mostert back on a friendly deal for both sides. I would much rather do that than Barkley. I like Barkley. I love him, but I feel like it would cost a lot. To get Barkley still, even with some of the injury concerns. So I want to give Mostert one more shot. I just want to see again. I just want to see Mostert get the call it nostalgic, call it whatever, man. I want to see Mostert. I want to see Mostert ball out. I do, and on a winner. Oh, I would love it. Let's go. Shout out to the boy Martin in Argentina. Let's go. Oh, look at the legend. Look at the legend cap. Um, any news on Kyler? Not necessarily. Again, some of the other pages on Instagram that I mess with that are Cardinals account, they're followed by his brother and whatever. He said he reached out to Kyler's brother and they just said it's a branding thing, but a branding thing could still be a contract thing. So I don't know. Kyle does like RB by committee, but I think what Kyle continues to prove, not only to us, but to himself, is that he can find talent like in other areas. He can find it late in the draft. He's honestly, if you look at Kyle Shanahan's track record, when you look at Kyle Shanahan's track record, he spent big money on Jerick McKinnon. How did that work out? Didn't work out. He traded up into the third to get Trey Sermon. So far, unfortunately, that didn't work. But when you look at the Alfred Morrises and the Colemans and the Breidas and the Mosterts and the Elijah Mitchells and all these guys that are just like undrafted guys or low draft picks or guys that no one else wanted, and Jeff Wilson, undrafted free, like they can clearly find and develop talent. So I don't necessarily want to, and I think we're all kind of understanding that running back has a shelf life. Whether like again, I'm wrapping my head around as a dynasty owner who spends a lot of time trading players and acquiring players. Like I got to stop trading for running backs. I have to. I have to stop trading for running backs. I have to stop giving assets for running backs. I just have to because they don't last long enough. I can spend a ton of draft capital in rookie picks, or I could send a blue chipper over, get this high end running back prospect. He get hurt, and that's it. So I would just rather, based on the track record with Kyle Shanahan, I feel comfortable with him grabbing guys in the 7th round at running back, or undrafted free agent, or in the 6th round, or 5th round. And you can find quality. Again, we did. Elijah Mitchell found quality in the 5th round. Another guy that I was huge on, Khalil Herbert, proved to be that he is a NFL caliber running back when given the opportunity. He was a 6th round draft pick. So it can be done. It can be done. So that's why, top tier running back, of course. Injury problems, yes. Should they go get him? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no. Okay. Last call. Last call. We're almost to 2 hours. What are we at with our likes? I know we were close. What's up, JC? JC? Day 2, homie? Oh, that's funny. Still at 240. Can we get 10 more? Can we get 10 more? That's all we need. That's all we need. 10. 10 thumbs up. Boop, boop. Boop, boop, boop. Boop, boop. Just 10 more. I kind of feel like, honestly, like it makes sense to me. It makes sense to me for Anthony Lynn to slide in. He was offensive coordinator with Detroit. He has the experience. He's literally just got done doing it. Ooh. Good call, Luke. Marlon Mack. I'm a Marlon Mack truther. Cash the God. Shout out the homie. Saw Cash on IG last night. Let's go. Shout out Cash. Oh, we're close. We are close. 2 more. Let me know if you are the 252. If you are the 250, let me know. I want to give you your flowers. We're close. Waiting for the chat. Oh, we're waiting. We're waiting. I think he means Jonathan Taylor. I hope Luke would know who Jonathan Taylor was. Oh, you good, my boy. Get that work done. Let's go. All right. So I'm going to have to incorporate like some kind of buzzer. Let's go. I'm going to have to incorporate some kind of buzzer when we hit our goals or something. He said my boy is T. Brad doing numbers like David Lombardi. Yee. Yep, Marlon Mack. Oh, let's go. We did it. Shout out the squad. Let's go, Jamal. Let's go. Shout out the squad. We did it. Hey, great job, DJ. DJ was grinding today. Let's go, squad. Let's go. We see you guys. We're all working. We're a gang. We all work together. Gotta love it, man. Yep, I need something at like 250 or whenever we hit our light goal, just wah, wah, like confetti, whoosh, something. We get like champagne bottles every time we hit a light goal. Woo! Like we just won a race or something. We just won the Indy 500. Oh my goodness. Hey, but we did it before, and we did it before 2 hours. SDS is undefeated. Let's freaking go. Let's go. We see the squad. Yeah, we gotta do something, man. I'm gonna come up with something. Again, I'm in the lab. I'm in the lab now. I've finally transitioned from content to all right. Let's develop. Let's build. Let's expand. So I'm excited, man. I'm excited. Shout out the squad. You guys know the vibes. Appreciate every single one of you. Ooh, bread gun. Hey, I got it on the list. SDS merch coming. SDS merch coming soon. So I'm gonna get that going. I got a designer on the line. I got everything that I need to do. I just actually got to push it into motion, but I got to build my list out first, but it's coming. So keep an eye out for Sourdough Squad. Merch should be on its way. I don't know when, but it should be on its way, and I'm excited because it should be fire. It should be fire. I'm excited. But yes, appreciate all you guys. We'll be back tomorrow, 1:30-ish, 1 to 2. Gonna be our sweet spot. And we are going to keep it rocking with the offseason content. Shout out the squad. We hit our goal. Mod squad on point. Sourdough squad undefeated. Vibes are immaculate. Let's freaking go. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.